In the fitting room mirror, the pure white wedding dress wrapped around me, the lace delicate, the skirt voluminous. After 7 years, I was finally going to marry Ethan White, but reflected in the mirror was also his calm, unruffled face. Ava, his voice was flat. Let's break up. Sophia is back. My heart stopped. Sophia Bellwether, his unforgettable first love, the white moonlight he never forgot. 7 years of companionship couldn't compare to her sudden return. It turned out, it wasn't that he was naturally indifferent. It was just that the warmth he gave was never meant for me. In the fitting room mirror, the pure white wedding dress wrapped around me, the lace delicate, the skirt voluminous. After 7 years, I was finally going to marry Ethan White, but reflected in the mirror was also his calm, unruffled face. Ava, his voice was flat. Let's break up. Sophia is back. Cardiac arrest. Sophia Bellwether, his unforgettable first love, his white moonlight. 7 years of companionship couldn't compare to her turning back for a moment. It turns out, he wasn't naturally indifferent. It's just that the warmth he showed was never for me. The lights in the bridal shop were dazzling, shining on me like a spotlight, illuminating my embarrassment and absurdity. The clerk was still beside me, praising, "Miss Ava, you look so beautiful in this wedding dress. Mr. Ethan has such good taste." Ethan didn't look at me or the dress. He just repeated coldly, "Did you hear that? We're breaking up." I took a deep breath, trying to steady my voice. "Ethan, don't joke around. The wedding is next week." He finally looked up at me, his eyes without a trace of joking, only a sense of relief as if a heavy burden had been lifted. "I'm not joking. Sophia and I are back together. What about us? What were 7 years worth?" My voice trembled uncontrollably. 7 years? He seemed to find the question unnecessary. "It's in the past. It's over." Such understated words. Like a fool, I stood before him in this wedding dress symbolizing happiness, listening to him pronounce the death sentence on our relationship. The words to try to save us were stuck in my throat, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't say them. Dignity would not allow it. Kerson's heart ached terribly, as if being repeatedly beaten by a blunt object. I lifted the heavy hem of my dress, wanting to leave this suffocating place. My foot caught on something, and I stumbled forward in a mess. The heavy wedding gown tangled around my legs. With a bang, I fell to the floor, a burning pain spreading across my palm. Ethan White stood just a few steps away, looking coldly, as if watching a stranger unrelated to him. He didn't reach out to help me, not even furrowing his brows. Turning around, he walked straight out of the bridal shop. The shop assistants exclaimed and rushed over to help me, but I felt as if I had lost all my strength and collapsed to the ground. The phone vibrated. It was a message from Ethan. "Leave the villa key behind. Move out as soon as possible." The cold words, like a poisoned ice pick, pierced sharply into my heart. I took off the wedding dress, changed back into my own clothes, and walked out of the shop. The sunlight was dazzling, yet I felt a chill all over. 7 years ago, Ethan was dumped by Sophia Bellwether and fell into despair. I was the one who stayed by his side when his startup failed and he was drowning in debt. I took out all my savings and even borrowed money from my family to help him pay off his debts and support his comeback. When he wanted to study abroad to improve himself, I quietly worked multiple jobs, lived frugally, and saved enough for his tuition and living expenses to send him overseas. I thought that the bond forged through shared hardships was enough to withstand any storm. I thought that 7 years of devotion would surely earn his appreciation. It turns out, it was all just my assumption. In his heart, I was probably just a suitable replacement after Sophia left, a convenient stepping stone. Now that the rightful owner has returned, I, the substitute, should naturally take the hint and exit gracefully. I didn't immediately go back to that old house full of memories. Instead, as if guided by some unseen force, I drove to the villa we bought for our marriage. It was the new home we chose together, watching every brick and tile being laid. The keys were still in my bag, and I used my fingerprint to unlock the door. The aroma of food wafted over. Ethan never cooks easily. He says he's busy with work, but now, wearing the apron I bought him, he was skillfully frying steak in the open kitchen. Beside him stood a slender woman with delicate features. It was Sophia Bellwether. She wore a silk nightgown, lazily leaning against the kitchen counter, holding a glass of red wine, smiling warmly at Ethan. Ethan turned his head and planted a gentle kiss on her lips. "Baby, just wait a little longer. It'll be ready soon." His voice was filled with a tenderness I had never heard before. Sophia smiled and poked his nose with her finger. I just like the way you cook for me. They were intimately close as if no one else existed, completely unaware of me standing at the door. My heart felt like it had been thrown into boiling oil, sizzling and burning so painfully I was about to lose consciousness. I stood still, not moving, until Ethan turned around carrying the cooked steak and finally saw me. He was stunned for a moment, then frowned, his tone clearly displeased. Ava, what are you doing here? Sophia also looked over, her eyes carrying a hint of amusement and scrutiny, as if appraising an object. Oh, so this is Ava? She gently swirled her wine glass, her tone lazy. Ethan, you said she looked ordinary and had a boring personality before. I thought you were just being modest. Ethan didn't refute it. Instead, he tacitly agreed, even saying with a hint of flattery, of course, she can't compare to you. He looked at me, his eyes cold. Why haven't you moved out yet? Didn't I send you a message? I looked at him, at the man I had loved for 7 years, the man I had given 7 years to. At that moment, all the love, all the unwillingness, all the lingering feelings vanished quickly like the receding tide, leaving only endless exhaustion and disgust. Ethan White, I said calmly, even surprising myself with my composure, let's talk about the division of property. He seemed unprepared for me to get straight to the point so quickly and was momentarily stunned. Sophia watched with great interest from the side, as if watching a good show. Ethan quickly recovered and took a document from the drawer beside him. I have already drafted the agreement. He handed me the document. This villa belongs to me, and the old apartment downtown belongs to you. I opened the agreement, and the terms were clearly written in black and white. This villa was purchased with our joint funds, with both our names on the deed, and it is quite valuable. As for that old apartment, it was my premarital property, small in size and in a less favorable location. The reason? I asked. Ethan glanced at Sophia, who was scrutinizing the villa with a critical eye. Sophia doesn't like apartment buildings. She finds them noisy, Ethan said matter-of-factly. So that's how it was. In order to make his beloved live comfortably, he could justifiably seize my property. I picked up the pen and signed my name at the end of the agreement, Ava Miller. No arguments, no questions, not even any extra emotions. There is no greater sorrow than a heart that has died, probably just like I am now. I pushed the signed agreement to him, then took the villa keys out of my bag and placed them on the table. Wishing you a lifetime of happiness. I forced a smile and turned to leave. Behind me came Sophia's coquettish laughter, and Ethan's slightly impatient soothing. I straightened my back and walked step by step out of the place that once held all my happy dreams. The moment I closed the door, the tears finally broke free. I returned to that old apartment filled with memories. Here are the dolls we bought on our first date, the light I left on for him when he worked late, and the embrace I gave him when he was down. Every corner is filled with fragments of the past. I curled up on the sofa, letting my tears flow freely. Exhausted from crying, I walked to the mirror. The woman in the mirror had a pale face and swollen red eyes, hardly what one would call stunning, compared to the bright and charming Sophia Bellwether in the photo. I admit, I lost in terms of appearance, but is it really just because of looks over these 7 years? I laughed at myself bitterly. I opened my phone and habitually clicked on the social media platform. The pinned post is the announcement of my marriage to Ethan, with many blessings from friends and family below. Ironically, the latest comments come from a few high school classmates. TSK. I thought you were really marrying into a wealthy family, so what happened? LOL. I heard Ethan White got back together with his first love, and the wedding was cancelled. Ava Miller really ended up with nothing. All those years of effort wasted. Not just that. I just saw Ethan White posted a new update, officially announcing a new relationship, just hours after the breakup. How ruthless. My fingers froze as I clicked into Ethan's profile. Sure enough, the latest post was an intimate photo of him and Sophia. The caption reads, "Searching and seeking, still the original you, my love, Sophia Bellwether." In the photo, they are smiling sweetly and dazzlingly. The post was made just 2 hours after he broke up with me. Seamlessly connected, a high-profile declaration of love. He didn't even leave me a shred of dignity. I stared at that photo, my heart pierced as if by countless needles all at once, aching densely and painfully. Those mocking comments were like handfuls of salt, scattered over my bleeding wounds. I took a deep breath, my fingers trembling as I deleted the post announcing the marriage. Then, I blocked Ethan White. as well as all the classmates who were gloating in the comments section. I can't stay in this heartbreaking place any longer. The next day, I contacted the agent and sold the old apartment as quickly as possible. With the money from selling the house, I left this city that had carried my youth and pain for 7 years. I went to Redwood City, a completely unfamiliar coastal town. With part of the money, I rented a small shop by the sea and opened a cafe, named it Rebirth. I devoted all my energy to running the cafe, selecting beans, roasting, grinding, brewing. Every step is done personally. The aroma of coffee seems to temporarily numb my nerves, making me forget those unbearable pasts. Busyness is the best remedy for healing a broken heart. I no longer pay attention to any news about Ethan White, nor do I contact old friends. I was like an injured snail, retreating into my shell, licking my wounds alone. Time is the best healer. A year later, the Rebirth Cafe had gained some fame in Redwood City. My life seemed to be gradually getting back on track. To expand the supply channels for coffee beans, I attended a thank you dinner hosted by a local supplier. At the banquet, glasses clinked amid a swirl of elegant attire and graceful figures. I sat alone in a corner, feeling somewhat out of place. A middle-aged man with a beer belly and thinning hair approached holding a glass, introducing himself as Mr. Lou, general manager of a certain company. Mr. Thompson, Miss Ava, right? I've heard a lot about you. Your cafe is quite unique. Mr. Thompson's eyes roamed over me with ill intent. I responded politely, just wanting to get away as soon as possible. Miss Ava, would you like a drink? He held the glass out in front of me, his greasy hand almost touching the back of my hand. I instinctively took a step back and declined politely. Sorry, Mr. Lou, I don't really drink. Ah, young man, going into business, how can you not know how to drink? Mr. Thompson persisted, even trying to put his arm around my shoulder. Come, I'll teach you. I furrowed my brows, about to refuse firmly. A clear male voice suddenly sounded from beside us. Mr. Thompson, forcing someone is not the behavior of a gentleman. I looked towards the voice and was stunned. Standing there was a tall young man dressed in a suit, handsome face, calm demeanor, and sharp eyes. He looked somewhat familiar, but I couldn't recall where I had seen him before. Mr. Thompson obviously knew him. The smile on his face stiffened for a moment, then turned somewhat ingratiating. So it's General Manager Liam Chen. What brings you here? Liam Chen? This name, I suddenly remembered. College roommate, Lin Shiqing, that boy who was once introverted, slightly chubby, always quietly sitting in the corner reading a book. We lost contact after graduation. I never expected to reunite here. The Liam Chen before me had long shed his youthful awkwardness and shyness, becoming so dazzling. Liam Chen ignored Mr. Thompson's flattery, his gaze falling on me, carrying a hint of curiosity and surprise. Ava Miller? He tentatively called out my name. I nodded, feeling a bit awkward. Liam? Long time no see. Long time no see. Liam Chen's lips curved into a gentle smile. I didn't expect to run into you here. He turned to Mr. Thompson, his tone polite yet carrying an undeniable authority. Mr. Thompson, Ava and I are old classmates. We just want to catch up. Hope it's not a bother? Mr. Thompson didn't dare say he was disturbing them, quickly waving his hand. Not disturbing. Not disturbing. You guys talk. You guys talk. After saying that, he slunk away. Crisis averted. I breathed a sigh of relief and thanked Liam Chen. Thank you. Just now. It was nothing. Liam Chen interrupted me, looking at me kindly. You've changed quite a bit. I almost didn't recognize you. You've changed even more. I spoke honestly. He smiled and invited me to sit down in the nearby lounge area. We talked about recent events. It turned out that after graduating, Liam Chen started his own business, which was thriving. One of the main operations was surprisingly related to coffee as well. He was a supplier of high-end coffee beans. So, you're here for the supplier dinner? I was a bit surprised. Yeah, it's kind of routine. Liam Chen nodded. What about you? How come you're here? I briefly talked about running my coffee shop. Rebirth Coffee Shop? A look of understanding flashed in Liam Chen's eyes. I know that place. The coffee is pretty good. So you're the owner. Have you ever drunk it? Yeah, been a few times. He looked at me, his eyes seeming to hold some other emotion. Ava, do you remember back in college? There was a time when my stomach hurt badly, and you quietly slipped me a box of stomach medicine? I was stunned for a moment, trying hard to recall. It seems, that did happen. At that time, seeing his pale face and him clutching his stomach, I casually gave him the stomach medicine from my bag. It was a very long time ago, and a trivial little thing. I didn't expect him to still remember. Such a small thing, yet you still remember. I smiled. To me, it wasn't a small matter. Liam Chen's gaze was serious. At that time, I was very introverted and had few friends. You were one of the few people who showed me kindness. His words made the atmosphere somewhat subtle. I changed the subject. By the way, how do you know that Mr. Thompson from just now? We had business dealings. Liam Chen said lightly. Stay away from that kind of person in the future. I nodded. After a moment of silence, I couldn't help but ask the question that had been lingering in my heart. Liam, do you know Sophia Bellwether? The moment the words left my mouth, I felt a twinge of regret. I thought I had let go, but deep down, it seemed I still cared. Liam Chen's expression didn't change much. He just looked at me calmly and said, I know, Ethan White's first love, now his wife. His tone was very flat, as if stating a fact that had nothing to do with him. Are they doing well? My voice was a bit dry. Liam Chen was silent for a few seconds, then said, Ava, look forward. Some people aren't worth looking back for. His words were like a needle, gently piercing the scab in my heart that hadn't fully healed yet. Yeah, it's not worth it. I took out my phone and instinctively opened Instagram. Ethan White's profile was updated. A photo of him and Sophia vacationing by the sea, captioned, sunshine, sand, and my beloved. In the photo, Sophia's smile blossomed like a flower as she nestled in Ethan's arms. Ethan looked down at her, his gaze full of affection. His heart still ached slightly, but it was no longer the heart-wrenching pain it once was. I took a deep breath and exited Ethan's homepage. You're right, look forward. I smiled at Liam Chen, this time sincerely. Let the past be the past. I want to be myself. Liam Chen looked at me, a flicker of admiration and concern in his eyes. If you need coffee beans, you can come to me. He handed me a business card. Old classmate, giving you a friendly price. Sure, I'd be delighted. I took the business card, feeling much more at ease. Reuniting with Liam Chen was like a ray of sunshine, brightening my somewhat gloomy life. After that, Liam Chen became a regular at my cafe. Sometimes he came to discuss collaborations, other times just to enjoy a simple cup of coffee. We talked about coffee, the market, and each other's lives. We got along very well and naturally. With his help, my cafe landed several big orders. Business flourished, and we even began preparing to open a branch. Life seemed to be moving in an increasingly positive direction, until one day, I received a message from the high school class monitor, inviting me to a class reunion, which was also a celebration of our former homeroom teacher Mr. Wang's 70th birthday. Looking at the familiar city name on the invitation, I hesitated. Going back meant possibly facing those unbearable memories again, facing Ethan White, facing those who once mocked me. I told Liam Chen about this. Do you want to go? He asked me, a little scared. I admitted honestly. Scared of what? Scared. I couldn't say it out loud. Scared of having old wounds reopened. Scared of seeing Ethan and Sophia's loving moments. Scared of losing control of my emotions. Liam Chen was silent for a moment, then said, if you want to go, I'll go with you. You're going too? I was a bit surprised. Yeah, the class monitor invited me as well. Besides, I haven't seen Teacher Wang in a long time. With Liam Chen by my side, I felt inexplicably more at ease. All right, then let's go together. I made the decision. Avoidance won't solve the problem. Some hurdles, in the end, you have to overcome on your own. The gathering is set for the weekend. Liam Chen drove to pick me up. He was dressed very casually today, but still couldn't hide his upright posture and outstanding temperament. Soothing music was playing in the car. Nervous? He asked me, turning his head. A little. I took a deep breath. Don't be afraid. I'm here. His voice was steady, carrying a reassuring strength. When we arrived at the hotel private room, quite a few classmates were already there. Seeing me, some people looked surprised, while others wore expressions as if watching a show. The prominent figure of high school days, now the center of attention, Jessica Thorne, Xia Weiwei, was also there. She has always had a bad relationship with me. Seeing me now, she immediately raised her chin and said sarcastically, "Oh, isn't this Ava? I thought you didn't have the face to come." I couldn't be bothered to respond to her. The class monitor came over to smooth things over and arrange the seating. I didn't know if it was a coincidence or intentional, but next to my seat, there was a conspicuously empty spot, and on the other side of that empty seat, the name tag read, Ethan White. I frowned, about to change my seat, but Liam Chen took the seat next to me first. Is this seat taken? He asked me with a smile. And no. I was momentarily stunned. Jessica Thorne pursed her lips and said no more. Before long, the private room door was pushed open. Ethan White and Sophia Bellwether walked in hand. Both were dressed in carefully coordinated outfits. A handsome man and a beautiful woman, very eye-catching. Sophia linked her arm with Ethan's, wearing a graceful smile, accepting the attention and compliments from everyone. Ethan's gaze swept across the room, and when he saw me and Liam Chen beside me, his steps paused for a moment, his brow slightly furrowing almost imperceptibly. The class monitor greeted them warmly. Ethan, Sophia, come sit quickly, we've saved you a spot. He pointed to the empty seat next to me, as well as the empty seat beside that. Ethan's expression looked somewhat unpleasant. Sophia smiled gracefully. It's okay, we'll just sit over here. She took Ethan's hand and sat down at a spot farther away from me. An invisible smoke of gunpowder seemed to spread through the air. Throughout the gathering, Liam Chen took great care of me. He shielded me from drinks, served me food, and spoke softly with me, as if the surrounding noise had nothing to do with us. His presence was like an invisible barrier, blocking out those ill-intentioned glances and whispered gossip. Jessica Thorne clearly didn't want us to have peace. She raised her glass and said loudly, "Oh, Ava, who is this handsome guy? Why not introduce him to everyone?" Everyone's eyes focused on me and Liam Chen. I felt a bit embarrassed, not knowing how to introduce him. Liam Chen calmly stood up, naturally resting one hand on the back of my chair, and smiled as he said to everyone, "I am Liam Chen, Ava's college classmate." After a pause, he added quietly, but loud enough for everyone to hear, "Currently, I am pursuing her." As soon as he finished speaking, the whole room erupted in a commotion. All kinds of gazes, surprise, jealousy, amusement, disbelief, were directed at us in unison. Jessica Thorne's expression was as unpleasant as if she had swallowed a fly. Ethan White's face instantly darkened, his fingers gripping the wine glass tightening slightly. Sophia Bellwether's smile stiffened for a moment, then returned to normal, but a faint, barely noticeable coldness flickered deep in her eyes. "Pursuing?" Ethan White sneered, his tone dripping with obvious sarcasm. "Liam Chen, since when did your taste become so unique?" His words were undoubtedly belittling me. I clenched my fists tightly, my nails digging into my palms. Liam Chen, however, remained unfazed, his smile even deeper. He looked at Ethan White, his gaze sharp as a knife. "What, Mr. Ethan has someone new, so no one else is allowed to start a new life?" In one sentence, Ethan White was left speechless, his face turning pale and then flushed. "Or," Liam Chen continued, his tone tinged with mockery, "does Mr. Ethan think that Ava is such a wonderful girl that only you deserve her, and no one else can pursue her?" A suppressed low laugh broke out around them. Ethan White's face turned completely dark. Sophia Bellwether quickly tugged his arm and gently persuaded, "Ethan, stop it. We're all classmates here." Liam Chen stopped looking at them, sat back down, and quietly asked me, "Shall we leave first?" I nodded. "I don't want to stay in this place for even a second longer." Liam Chen greeted Teacher Wang and the class monitor, then led me out of the private room. Stepping out of the hotel, the evening breeze blew, and my tense nerves finally relaxed a little. "Thank you, Liam," I said sincerely. "No need to be so polite with me." Liam Chen smiled and opened the car door for me. Just as he sat in the car, Liam Chen's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID, frowned, answered the call, and turned on the speakerphone. It was Ethan White calling. "Liam Chen, what do you mean by this?" Ethan's angry voice came through the receiver. "Ava is mine, so stop making a move on her." "His person? On what grounds does he say that?" Liam Chen sneered. "Ethan White, have you forgotten that you were the one who gave up on Ava first? Now in what capacity are you questioning me?" Ethan was momentarily at a loss for words. "Also, make it clear, Ava is not anyone's possession. She has the right to choose her own life and partner." Liam Chen's tone turned icy. "If you harass her again, don't blame me for being ruthless." After speaking, he hung up the phone immediately and blacklisted Ethan's number. The carriage was silent. I looked at Liam Chen's sharp profile, feeling a bit unsettled inside. What he said just now in the private room. "Liam," I hesitated before speaking, What you just said. Chasing after me. Is it true? Liam Chen turned his head, looking at me seriously, his gaze focused and deep. Ava, he said each word clearly. Chasing after you is true. My heart skipped a beat. I was confessed to. After going through that failed relationship, I thought it would be hard for me to fall in love again. But Liam Chen's gaze, his protection, his honesty, stirred a ripple in the frozen lake of my heart. But I am afraid. I am afraid of being hurt again. Afraid of misjudging someone once more. Liam, I lowered my head, not daring to look into his eyes. I might not be ready to start a new relationship yet. It's okay. Liam Chen's voice was very gentle. I can wait. He didn't pressure me or force me. He simply expressed his feelings quietly through his actions. He would place large orders at my cafe anonymously. He would remember my preferences and bring me my favorite desserts when I was busy. He would quietly help me resolve some business troubles. He would even find some photos from our university days and send them to me, accompanied by warm memories. Remember this one? At the library entrance. The way you fed the stray cats. This one. At the sports meet. You collapsed on the grass exhausted after running the 800 meters, and I handed you a bottle of water. He always manages to precisely capture those subtle moments of kindness and warmth that I overlook. His pursuit is not grand and dramatic, but like silent rain nourishing everything, gradually permeating my life and warming my cold heart. I began to waver. Reason told me to keep my distance and not to get involved easily, but emotionally, I was irresistibly drawn to him. On a rainy night, I had just closed the cafe door, ready to go home. Liam Chen held a black umbrella, standing in the rain, seemingly waiting for a long time. Liam, so late. Why are you here? I was a bit surprised. He walked up to me, closed the umbrella, and the rain soaked his shoulders. The glow of the streetlight fell on his face, outlining his deep features. He looked at me, his eyes swirling with complex emotions, restraint, longing, and a trace of vulnerability that was hard to detect. Ava, his voice was a little hoarse. I miss you. Just 4 simple words, yet like a key, they instantly unlocked the long-sealed door to my heart. All hesitation, all worries, vanished in that moment like smoke dissipating into the clouds. I looked at his wet hair, looked into the sincerity in his eyes, and, as if guided by some unseen force, stood on tiptoe and kissed his lips. The rain was cold, but his lips were warm. Liam Chen was momentarily stunned, then took the initiative, holding me tightly and deepening the kiss. The sound of rain pattering. The world seemed to consist of only the two of us. After a long moment, our lips parted, our foreheads pressed together. We could both feel each other's rapid heartbeat. Ava, you. Liam Chen's voice carried a hint of uncertainty. I looked into his eyes and said earnestly, Liam Chen, let's be together. A burst of ecstatic light flashed in his eyes, and he tightly embraced me in his arms. Okay. At that moment, I knew that my rebirth referred not only to my career but also to my heart. Life became bright and beautiful after being with Liam Chen. He respects me, supports me, and has given me a sense of security and being cherished that I have never had before. We run the coffee business together, explore every corner of Redwood City together, and plan for the future together. However, the peaceful life did not last long. Sophia Bellwether began to subtly harass me on social media. She would like my posts from long ago, follow the page of my cafe, and even imitate my style of dressing and photography. I know she is spying, provoking. Liam Chen noticed my irritation and handled everything quietly. He had the technicians block Sophia's account, filtering out all the uncomfortable information that I might see. Don't let irrelevant people affect your mood. He held me close, his tone gentle yet firm. I'm here. The feeling of being protected is truly wonderful. Just when I thought Ethan White was completely a thing of the past, he suddenly appeared. That night, Liam Chen and I had just finished watching a movie and were walking down to the apartment building. A familiar figure staggered out of the darkness and blocked our way. It was Ethan White. He was drunk, reeking of alcohol, his eyes unfocused, his face marked with pain and regret. Ava. His voice was hoarse, trembling with tears. Ava, I was wrong. I really was wrong. He tried to grab my hand, but Liam Chen blocked him. Ethan White, please show some respect. Liam Chen stood protectively behind me, his tone icy. Ava, can you forgive me? Let's start over. Ethan White pleaded recklessly. I know I was wrong. Sophia is nothing like I imagined. She's selfish, vain, and nowhere near as good as you. He began listing Sophia's flaws, belittling her while elevating me. Such a familiar scene. Back then, he also spoke ill of Sophia to me like this, trying to win my sympathy and trust. Now, he is using the same method, trying to win me back. It's truly laughable and sad. I looked at him in his pitiful state, feeling not a trace of emotion, but rather a sense of disgust. Ethan White, I said coldly, we are over. Please do not come to disturb my life anymore. My indifference and decisiveness seemed to have provoked him. Ava, how can you do this to me? He became emotional. I treated you so well. You can't just forget me like that. You treat me well? I sounded as if I had heard the biggest joke. I gave everything for you. And just as we were about to get married, you got back together with your first love and threw me away like trash. Is this what you call treating me well? Ethan White was choked by my words, his face pale. No, that's not it. Ava, please let me explain. No need. I interrupted him. I don't want to talk about the past anymore. There is no longer any relationship between us. After speaking, I linked arms with Liam Chen and turned to leave. Ethan White was hysterically shouting my name from behind, filled with unwillingness and despair. Liam Chen squeezed my hand tightly and whispered, "Ignore him. Let's go home." Back at home, I was still somewhat shaken. Liam Chen poured me a cup of hot water and comforted me. "Don't be afraid. If he dares to harass you again, I won't let him off." I nodded and leaned into his embrace, feeling the warmth and peace he brought. To help me completely break free from the shadows of the past, Liam Chen took me to do something I had always wanted to do but never could because of Ethan: ride the Ferris wheel. Ethan was afraid of heights. We had been together for 7 years but never once rode a Ferris wheel together. As the Ferris wheel slowly rose to its highest point, the entire night view of Redwood City unfolded before our eyes. Neon lights flickered, and the stars shone brilliantly. Liam Chen hugged me from behind, resting his chin on the top of my head. "Ava, look, isn't the view beautiful?" Very beautiful. From now on, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, I'll be with you," he whispered softly in my ear. He took out his phone, captured a silhouette of us cuddling together, and then posted it directly on his Instagram. The caption read, "My girl, my whole world, at Ava Miller." No concealment whatsoever, blatant favoritism. I know he wants to use this way to announce our relationship to everyone, giving me enough sense of security. Watching the likes and blessings continuously popping up on the phone screen, I smiled. This time, I chose the right person. However, fate always seems to enjoy playing cruel jokes. Just when we thought we could completely leave the past behind and embrace happiness, an accident happened. That night, Liam Chen went out of town to attend an important business meeting, and I was heading home alone after work. Just as I reached the apartment building, a shadow suddenly darted out from the side and grabbed my arm tightly. It was Ethan White. His eyes were bloodshot, his face haggard, as if he had completely lost his mind. "Ava, you can't be with him. You are mine, only mine." He pulled me hard, his strength astonishing. "Let go of me, Ethan White. Are you crazy?" I struggled desperately but couldn't break free. Just then, a white sports car suddenly sped towards us, its glaring headlights shining straight at us. The driver was none other than Sophia Bellwether. She had been drinking too, her eyes hazy and wild, with a twisted look of hatred on her face. "Ethan, you liar, didn't you say you only loved me?" she screamed, sharply turning the steering wheel, and the car lost control as it crashed towards Ethan White. Bang! A loud crash. Ethan was thrown flying, crashing heavily to the ground, blood instantly staining the floor. I was terrified out of my wits, screaming aloud. Sophia Bellwether seemed to have bloodshot eyes. She glanced at Ethan lying on the ground, then suddenly turned her gaze fiercely towards me. She actually turned the car around, stepped on the gas again, and charged straight at me. "Go to hell, Ava Miller." I was so scared my legs went weak, my mind went blank, and I watched helplessly as that crazy sports car got closer and closer to me. At this critical moment, a figure pounced like a leopard, pushing me harshly to the side. "Ava, watch out." It was Liam Chen. He didn't know when he had rushed back. The huge impact knocked both of us to the ground, and we rolled several times before coming to a stop. Almost simultaneously, Sophia's sports car brushed past the spot where we had just been standing, lost control, and crashed into the nearby flower bed with a loud bang. The front of the car was severely deformed, and the airbags deployed. I lay on the ground, shaken and unsettled, my heart pounding uncontrollably. Liam Chen held me tightly, his arms trembling slightly. Ava, are you okay? Are you hurt? He anxiously checked my body. I'm fine. I looked in horror at Ethan lying in a pool of blood not far away, and at the wrecked sports car, my voice trembling. Liam, Ethan, The sound of sirens grew louder from afar. Soon, the police and ambulance arrived at the scene. Sophia Bellwether was taken away on the spot by the police for drunk driving and reckless driving. Ethan White was seriously injured and rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. Liam Chen and I were also taken to the hospital for examination. I only suffered some scratches and nothing serious. Liam Chen got a large scrape on his arm while pushing me away and is currently having it bandaged. Looking at the wound on his arm, I trembled with fear and tears fell uncontrollably. If he hadn't arrived in time, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Fool, why are you crying? Liam Chen gently wiped away my tears with his uninjured hand, his tone tinged with a hint of tenderness. It's just a small injury, it doesn't matter. But, there's no but. He interrupted me, pulling me into his embrace, his voice low and serious. As long as you're okay, that's all that matters. I buried my face in his chest, feeling his warm chest and strong heartbeat, and only then did the heart that had been hanging in the air finally settle back into place. A few days later, the news arrived. Although Ethan White survived, he suffered comminuted fractures in both legs and may have to spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. He sent me a long text message. Ava, I'm sorry. I know it's too late to say anything now, but I still want to apologize to you. In the past, I was a jerk. I didn't know how to cherish you, and I was blinded by my own selfishness, which made me miss out on such a wonderful girl like you. I don't ask for your forgiveness. I just hope you can be happy seeing you with Liam Chen. Actually, I'm happy for you. He's a good man, 1,000 times better than me. Wishing you happiness, forever happiness. Do not reply. Looking at this message, my heart was filled with mixed emotions. There was no thrill of revenge, nor any trace of sympathy. I just felt that everything should come to an end. I deleted the message without replying. Liam Chen's injury gradually healed, yet he acted like a child, clinging to me and acting spoiled. Ava, I got hurt saving you, so you have to take responsibility for me. How am I supposed to take responsibility? I looked at him with amusement. He stretched out the injured arm and brought it close to me. Look, there's a scar here. It's so ugly. Ugly? Not at all. I gently stroked the pale pink scar. No, you have to make it up to me. He grabbed my hand, his eyes sparkling. Punishment. You have to repay me for a lifetime. I looked into his eyes, filled with undisguised love and tenderness, and smiled. All right, for a lifetime. The sunlight outside is just right, and the breeze is gentle. After enduring storms and tempests, I have finally found my own clear sky. Liam Chen and I have grown our coffee business bigger and bigger, opening several branches. We have traveled through many places together and seen many landscapes. He gave me blatant favoritism and unwavering protection. I finally completely walked out of the shadows of the past, learned to love myself, and also learned to love bravely. True happiness is not dependent on anyone, but becoming a better version of yourself, and then meeting the one who can walk beside you and achieve greatness together. I am very grateful that, at my most miserable moment, I met Liam Chen. I am also very grateful that I ultimately chose to bravely hold on to this hard-won happiness. Life goes on, and the sunshine remains bright, and the story between Liam Chen and me is just beginning.